What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC 303. We have Alex Pereira going against Prashka 2, and I'm really looking forward to this card. We have a card that is stacked from top to bottom. We have 13 fights on this card. It's International Fight Week. I cannot wait to start breaking this one down. I have a ton of action on this card. I think I have more action on this card than I have had in like the entire month of June combined. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There's some spots sticking out. I'm taking a bunch of big plus money shots, a couple money lines, a parlay as well. So yeah, just a ton to talk about. Before we get into it, if you guys could please do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and also look out for Best Bet. It's going to be fight day 2 hours prior to the prelims. The prelims start at 6, going to be going live at 4. And since this is a big card, and I haven't done this since UFC 300, going to be bringing back the big prop contest. I want you guys to comment down your biggest plus money prop. I'm taking a bunch of big plus money props myself. Comment down your craziest prop. See what happens. For UFC 300, somebody commented Max Holloway to win by 5th round knockout at like plus 5,000. He was able to win there. So yeah, comment down anything and I'll pick a winner. Whoever gets the widest odds, the biggest odds. $25 to first, and on top of that, you guys hit your props. So comment down your props. And also, as you guys know, nothing in life is a free square. Nothing in life is a lock until now. On Prize Picks, they have Alex Pereira to land more than 0.5 significant strikes. If you guys want to check it out, use promo code DFSBTN. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100, and you get a free square. It's like it's free. It's a square. It's gonna hit. I gave a free square last pay-per-view for the Islam and Poirier fight, and people were making arguments that Poirier might not land a strike, but he did, and it hit. And this one's going to hit as well. I'm very, very confident. So check that out. All right. With all that out of the way, guys, I say we get into it. A lot to talk about. We're going to start with the first fight of UFC 303, which is just an absolute banger. I mean, this is a phenomenal fight here. It is Ricky Simone going against Vinicius Oliveira. And, yeah, I'm liking Simone here to win, first and foremost, minus 235. In hindsight, it could look like a steal, but in hindsight, like it could look very bad because his head could get taken off. So there's just a big path to victory here for Simone. You know, Bernardo Sopai was able to have a ton of success, and I think people forget like what happened in the first 10 minutes of that Sopai fight. And Sopai was able to take him down in the first round, got into mount instantly on one of the takedowns. And then in the second round, Sopai was beating the brakes off of Oliveira. It looks like he was about to finish him. Took his back multiple times. Sopai gassed out, which is expected. He took the fight on a couple days' notice, but it's like, man, Ricky Simone is like one of the best wrestlers in the division, like a top 3 in the bantamweight division. Ricky Simone is a much higher level wrestler and a much higher level grappler than Bernardo Sopai, who almost got Oliveira out of there. So obviously when this fight is standing, Oliveira has the power to knock out anybody, especially Simone, who's been knocked out by Faber. But, you know, I think Ricky Simone's going to take the path of least resistance here, get this fight down to the mat, and find a submission at some point in this fight. So I have 3 bets on this fight. The first one is the under 2.5. It was my first bet of the week, I believe, and I have 1.5 units on it at minus 115. It's still around there. I think people are seeing this as like Simone by decision or Oliveira by knockout, and I'm not really seeing it that way. Oliveira is a killer-be-killed fighter. He's been finishing all 3 of his losses, all 3 by knockout. I could see Ricky Simone getting a grounded-pound TKO. I could see Simone even getting a knockout on the feet, but I'm personally picking sub here for Simone. So yeah, give me the under 2.5 rounds, 1.5 units on that at minus 115. And then I also sprinkled round 2 and round 3. Ricky Simone, round 2, quarter unit, plus 650. Round 3, Simone, quarter unit, plus 1,000. Looking for Simone to get Oliveira out of there as the fight goes on. Next, we have Ray Cerulla going against Carlos Hernandez. And, yeah, as the weeks went on, I'm getting some very bad vibes here on the Cerulla side, especially at this price tag. It's like, on my prediction video, I'm talking about this fight, and it's like I'm bringing up a ton of red flags with Cerulla. It's like I haven't seen him land one strike. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he doesn't strike at all. On the feet, it's one-way traffic in favor of Hernandez. And the cardio is a massive concern on the Cerulla side. Like, what happens if Cerulla is not able to finish Carlos Hernandez in the first 7.5 minutes? And the answer to that is I think it gets very interesting very quickly. So how I'm attacking this fight, I'm not laying minus 450 on Saruya. If you like Saruya, I would bet him maybe by decision or maybe round 1, round 2 submission. But I think this fight gets sketchy as it goes on. Carlos Hernandez is going to have the striking advantage, the cardio advantage. He's fought the much better competition by a mile. So I think there's a reason money is coming in on Carlos Hernandez as of late. Me personally, I'm going to be looking at this fight from a live bet standpoint. I think that if Hernandez is able to survive the first round and a half, I'll look to live bet him. But there are some spots I like in this fight. A couple spots, actually, that are big plus money numbers. The first one being the Carlos Hernandez plus 3.5 point spread, which means he has to win at least one round on all 3 judges' scorecards. So, say, for example, Saruya wins the fight 29-28 on all 3 judges' scorecards. The plus 3.5 point spread's going to hit. It's plus 240. I have 1 unit on that. I see this fight as Saruya's going to win the first round. There's no doubt in my mind. I'd be kind of shocked if he didn't. But I'd also be shocked if Hernandez doesn't win the 3rd round if it gets there. And I would be shocked if Hernandez doesn't win like the latter half of the 2nd round. I think this fight, if it goes the distance, it could get close. It could get very close. And I think the split decision's live. And I was looking at the split decision props, which I haven't played in a very long time because they never seem to work out. And maybe it doesn't here. But it's like split decisions plus 650 and Carlos Hernandez by split decisions plus 1,800. So I could see this fight, if it goes to decision, being very close, where Saruya is winning the early going, Hernandez is winning the late part of the fight. 1,800 for the Hernandez split decision prop on DraftKings. I had to take a quarter unit shot, and then I also had to take a quarter unit shot on Hernandez round 3 at plus 3,500. That's a stupid number. I think this fight, if it gets extended, Saruya slows down after 7.5. I think at the very least there's going to be some opportunities. So I didn't think I'd be this heavily invested into this fight. I was going to ultimately stay away because I do think there's a lot of question marks and unknowns with Saruya, and I was getting some bad vibes with the guy, like the guy's having a WWE fighter in his corner. I don't like that. But just seeing some of these prices, I had to take a couple of small shots on him. So that's how I'm attacking this fight, and then also a live bet standpoint as well, potentially. Next, we got Martin Buday going against Andre Arlovski. This is a fight. This is the throw your TV out the window play of the week. Anything Martin Buday related, get ready to be screaming at your television and being very upset, because Martin Buday has a path to look minus 1,000 here if he wants to. And that path is going to be to get the fight down to the mat. Andre Arlovski, anytime somebody's tried to grapple him within the last 10 years, he's insta-tapped. And I mean insta-tapped. Like, if anything is even close to being locked up, and even not locked up, if you attempt a sub, he's tapping. It's simple as that. Martin Buday just got his black belt in BJJ. Martin Buday has multiple submissions on his record. Why wouldn't he try to take this fight down to the mat? He was able to insta-sub Josh Parisian for the most part with that Gamori. So, yeah, I mean, I was going to stay away from this fight, but this is it's a read where, like, it's right there. Like, it is right there. And it's Martin Buday by submission. It's plus 470. And I have a half unit on it. I'm only going a half unit because I don't trust him. I mean, the path is there, and it's clear as day, but I'm not sure Martin Buday is smart enough to take it. But if he gets one takedown, I think he's tapping out Arlovski here. So half a unit, submission prop. Be prepared to scream at your television. I'm prepared as well, but the path is literally there, and we'll see if Martin Buday fights smart. Next, we got Jillian Robertson going against Michelle Waterson-Gomez. So I just think this is one of those fights where we have two fighters that are at two different trajectories in their career. Michelle Waterson-Gomez, like 1-6 in her last 7 fights. And you could argue she lost the Angela Hill fight. Like, she could be 0-7 in her last 7 fights. She took a lot of damage in her last fight against Marina Rodriguez. She has not looked great in a very long time. Early money came in on Waterson this week, and I can kind of see why, because typically she does have good takedown defense, and in theory, if she's stuffing the takedowns here, and this fight's at range for 15 minutes, she wins the fight. It's just, at some point, I think this fight hits the mat. Jillian Robertson's been looking great at strawweight thus far. Jillian Robertson's, been making improvements. I think she's the one that's much more likely to make improvements, right? Waterson 38, Robertson, I think, 28, 29. So yeah, I think at some point this fight hits the mat, and when it does, Robertson's a savage. I mean, that's the nickname. She's really good on top. She has great ground and pound. That submission game, she's finished all but one of her wins in the UFC. The one she didn't finish was Yanan Wu. So yeah, Robertson, I think if she's winning this fight, it's finish. I think if she's paying off this price tag, it's finish. If this goes the distance, like, it probably means that Waterson was able to stuff the takedowns and outpoint Robertson. But give me Robertson here. I played Robertson inside the distance for a half a unit plus 180 just to cover the TKO. And then I also played the sub because I do think it's sub. Half a unit plus 260. 1 unit invested on these Robertson finish props. I think if she gets a takedown, she could finish this fight. Moving on, we got Peyton Talbot going against Yanis Gamori. So I have Peyton Talbot to win inside the distance as a parlay piece this week at minus 190, which I really like that. It's minus 200 now. I really like that. Probably could have even just straight bet that. I mean, he's minus 2,000 on the money line. But yeah, Talbot inside the distance as a parlay piece for me. I think it's a great way to get that money line down from minus 2,000 to like minus 200. I think that's very generous. He's finished all but one of his wins. So yeah, Peyton Talbot as a inside the distance as a parlay piece for me. And then also there's no, like, what I had circled when I researched this fight, and what you always should have circled for a Talbot fight is Talbot round 2 and round 3. All of his wins come in round 2 or round 3, and of course he had the decision win with Reyes Cortez on the Contender Series. And he almost finished him in the 3rd round. But he's never won a fight in the 1st round. And maybe that changes here, but you look at the 2-3 props. The 2-3 props this week are the worst 2-3 props I have ever seen in my life. It's like plus 250 for round 2, plus 350 for round 3. I mean, they're horrible round 2-3 props. Like, I know it didn't cash last time, but Talbot round 3 was 1,400 against Simone. Of course, this is a much different matchup, but still, we are getting terrible prices. So the only way to really play this fight is the over, but the over's gotten smashed, which rightfully so. I think this does go over. But Talbot round 2, round 3 sub compared to the K, I mean, they're ridiculous numbers. Talbot round 2, 3 sub. And he's got one against Nick Aguirre. This guy can wrestle. I think he has a wrestling background. He can grapple. And he can honestly win this fight however he wants. Like, if he wants to sub him, he'll sub him, So the fact that the submission prop in the 2-3 especially, round 2 plus 2,000, round 3 plus 2,500, I think it could be worth a shot. Obviously, I think knockouts way more likely, but we've seen him do it before. So I don't mind those 2-3 sprinkles. That's really the only way you can tack it. But those are just massive numbers that caught my eye. So quarter unit on each. Talbot round 2 sub plus 2,000. Talbot round 3 sub plus 2,500. And then, like I said, I have Talbot inside the distance parlayed with something later in the card. Moving on, we got Charles Jourdain going against Gene Silva. Not much sticking out here. Gene Silva did miss weight. Didn't look amazing on the scales. But I am on the Charles Jourdain money line, and I'm keeping it at that. 1 unit, minus 120. The line's kind of stuck around there throughout the week. This is a show-me spot for Gene Silva. A lot of people are on Gene Silva this week. And I think they're more so trying to fade Charles Jourdain because it's like there's no tape on Gene Silva. Like, there's 4 fights. One was against Weston Wilson. One was against some dude in the Contender Series, Vallejos, who's not bad. And then another fight was 8 years ago. And then another fight lasted like a round and a half. So there's not a ton of footage out there of Gene Silva. I'm still not sure on how good he actually is. But, what I think people are doing is fading Charles Jourdain here because he did look awful in his last fight against Sean Woodson. He looked terrible. He didn't even show up in that fight. But that's a much different matchup. I mean, Sean Woodson is a 6'3" featherweight, which makes no sense. Gene Silva's 5'7". Gene Silva missed weight and was still the much smaller fighter in this matchup. Jourdain was much bigger than him. So it's a show me spot. I like Jourdain. He's much more experienced. He's higher volume. I think he has better cardio as well. He's a round 3 monster. Give me Jourdain to win this fight. I do think it'll be competitive. I don't think he's going to go out there and look minus 1,000, but I do think he should be the rightful favored a little bit more than the minus 120 there. So going against the grain here, going against a lot of people. I know a lot of people on the Gene Silva side, but I'm taking Jourdain 1 unit minus 120 on the money line. Moving on, we got Andre Fili going against Cub Swanson. I love violence here in this matchup. This is a fight where it's about the durability, right? Like, Andre Fili at 35, I think he's 34 years old, has taken a ton of damage. He's had a ton of fights. He's been in the UFC forever, it seems. He's had so many fights, so many wars, and I think the wars are starting to catch up with him, man. I mean, the chin is, it's almost dust, it seems. Like he's getting hurt in every fight. He's getting dropped in every fight. He's been knocked out 4 times. He's been finished 6 times. These guys have been finished a combined 16 losses in their career. That cannot be ignored. So getting the fight doesn't go the under 2.5 at like a pick'em. I got to take it, just how I see the fight playing out. I don't think either of these guys are durable. Andre Fili, I think, is very chinny. Cub Swanson, I think, is very weak to the legs, to the body at this stage of his career. So, yeah, I think there's a good chance Andre Fili could land a body shot, some leg kicks. And then I also think Cub Swanson, who still has power, can knock out a chinny Andre Fili. So I just see a lot of ways for this fight to finish. So I'm on the under 2.5 here, 1.5 units at -110. I like that spot. And then I also have a half unit shot on Cub Swanson by knockout at +600. I think he has a chance to knock out Andre Fili here. I think the 40-year-old Cub Swanson has a chance to knock out Andre Fili. I think this is going to be a war. Andre Fili said it himself at Media Day. He's prepared to go to war with Cub Swanson, and I think somebody's getting knocked out in this fight. So give me Cub Swanson, knockout prop, half a unit, +600, massive number there. The dude still has power. Power's the last thing to go. And then also give me the under 2.5 rounds, 1.5 units at a pick'em -110. Moving on to the next fight, we have Joe Pyfer going against Marc-Andre Bario. So this is the one fight on the card where I don't have anything yet. If you guys are on dfsbythenumbers.com, the website, the Discord, I'll be posting it on there if I do decide to add something. And then I'll also add down in the comment of this video if I do decide to add something in this fight. I'm not sure if I am yet or not. There are some spots sticking out. I'm not sure how I want to attack this fight entirely yet, but there's a chance I might add something. But I'll break it down. I mean, this is Joe Pyfer. I think it's Joe Pyfer all day. I don't hate Joe Pyfer as a parlay, like -310. I think it could be a parlay. I just see Joe Pyfer winning this fight however he wants. I think he's live for a knockout. I think he's live for a submission. I think he's live for a decision. I kind of lean the knockout being the most likely scenario. Barrio's durable, but he's hittable, and he's going to go out there and get into a bunch of exchanges with Pyfer, and that could end up very badly for him. Pyfer is going to have a grappling advantage, a wrestling advantage. I think the sub's on the table. I was looking at the sub. I don't like the price, though. And then he could also win a decision. So, yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to attack this fight yet, but I do like Pyfer. I like him quite a bit, but nothing yet from a betting perspective. But I'm sure I'll probably add something tomorrow at some point. What is going on with me? I'm so tired. I'm recording this way too late. I forgot how to talk for a second. I'm back. I felt like... Never mind. All right. So, yeah, nothing yet on that fight, but I'll be sure to maybe add something. Moving on. Holy crap, I fell asleep for a second. I need something to wake me up. Maybe this fight will wake me up. Ian Machado Gary going against Michael Paige, or it could be the most boring fight of the card. Yeah, so I kind of have a hot take on this fight. I think that this fight could be a lot more exciting than people think. I mean, I think the consensus is like this fight's gonna suck, it's gonna be boring, and I don't necessarily see it that way. Like Ian Gary's talking about he wants to fight for a title this time next year, and if he wants to fight for a title, this quickly, he's got to go out there and have a great performance. He's got to go out there and have a dominating performance. Get a finish, right? If he goes out there and has a boring staring contest with Paige, like what's that going to do? It's going to be a terrible look. He's talking about how he shouldn't be fighting Paige. He should be fighting somebody up the rankings. So he's talking about going in there and dominating him, making it look easy. So we'll see. I'm hoping this isn't a boring fight. But yeah, I was looking at the under really surprised me earlier in the week. It was +210. It's gotten hit throughout the week, but I'm attacking violence here in a little bit of a different way. So these finish props on really both sides are pretty wide here. Like Gary inside the distance, +340. I have a half unit on that. Gary sub, which is a lot of people are on, cord unit +1,000. I like those two on the Ian Gary side. I think Gary has the power to knock out Michael Paige. We've seen Paige knocked out before. And of course, as we all know, Ian Gary training with Charles Oliveira, shoot to box Diego Lima. Maybe comes in there with that blonde hair and gets his fight down to the mat. If he does, I think a sub could be on the table for Ian Gary. It's a big plus money number. So yeah, I like that on the Gary side, and then on the Paige side, it's knockout. It's plus 500. I got it at for a half a unit. I think it's plus 525 or plus 550 now. I think that's how he wins, and I think it's on the table. When this fight's at range on the feet, like I think Paige is live to knock out Gary, who is very hittable, who's seen hurt before, who's seen dropped before by Song Kanan. And I was watching that Holland fight, and it's like, man, this guy Paige, if he lands some of these shots that he did on Holland, on a guy like, on really anybody other than Holland, who's next level durable, I think he can knock out Ian Gary. So this is my way of attacking violence. I'm playing the Paige KO, half a unit plus 500. I'm ruling out the sub for him. But I'm playing Gary inside the distance, half a unit plus 340, and then Gary sub, quarter unit plus 1,000. Could just play the under, but that's how I'm attacking it personally. Next, we got Mario Bueno Silva going against Macy Chiasson. And, yeah, some spots sticking out here. I mean, this line's completely crashed down throughout the week. Mario Bueno Silva is minus 170, minus 180. That's gone now. It's a pick 'em. And a couple of spots stuck out here. Like, I get why money came in on Chiasson. I think she's going to be the clear minute winner. But, we've seen Chiasson submitted before. We've seen her put into a bunch of bad spots before throughout her career. She's making bad decisions in the cage. I think that Mario Bueno Silva is absolutely live for a submission. And I think she's pretty much sub or bust as well. Finisher bust. Like, Mario Bueno Silva is a terrible minute winner. She's won one decision ever, and I think it was against, like, Yanan Wu. So, yeah, I mean, this should be Chiasson by decision, which is like plus 175, which is not great. Or I think it's Bueno Silva by sub. Bueno Silva's finished all of her wins by sub, besides, like I said, one fight. And the sub prop, it's like plus 350 on some books. I got it at plus 410. I have a quarter unit on that. And then I also have a half unit on Mario Bueno Silva inside the distance plus 300. I think those are kind of silly numbers, because it's like, I think she's literally submission or bust in this matchup, and I think she's live for it as well, very live for it. I could see Silva snatching up Chiasson's neck in the clinch, like Raquel Pennington did. I could see an armbar from guard. If Bueno Silva is able to get on top of Chiasson, I could see a sub there as well. So yeah, I think there's a lot of, I just think at some point in this fight, there's going to be a submission on the Bueno Silva side, and it's a big plus money number. I think it should be not anywhere near plus 410. So yeah, give me the sub for Mario Bueno Silva and the inside the distance. Next, we have Roma Delidze going against Anthony Smith. I'm on the Roma Delidze side. I'm on the money line, 1.5 units, minus 138. I'm typically not, a Roma Delidze believer, but I am a believer of him in this matchup here. Short notice for both guys, though. This fight got made very recently. Roma Delidze up a weight class, but Delidze has fought at light heavyweight. He made his debut at light heavyweight. I think he even has a fight at heavyweight, and he even looked good at the ceremonial weigh-ins. He looked like he was about the same size as Anthony Smith. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really take that into account too much. I was actually shocked when he ended up cutting down to middleweight for the first time, but now he's going back up to light heavyweight, and I think that's not really a big deal to me. In terms of this fight, Delidze's durable, Anthony Smith is not. Anthony Smith has 15 finish losses. Roma Delidze's next level durable, incredible chin, incredible submission game. In terms of the minute winning, on the feet, Anthony Smith probably the minute winner for sure. Has the leg kicks, more volume, but Delidze has a path here to win minutes in the wrestling. I mean, if Roma Delidze wants takedowns, so get them. Anthony Smith has some of the worst takedown defense in the UFC, and Roma Delidze has, like I said, a great submission game as well. So I just feel like there's a lot of avenues for Delidze to win this fight. I feel like he can win it by any method. Knockout, we've seen Smith knocked out 11 times. Submission, haven't seen it in a while, but Smith's been finished by submission 4 times. And then also a wrestling-based decision as well, or even a decision where he's landing the harder shots on the feet, maybe hurting Smith, because I think if anybody's getting hurt in this fight, it is going to be Smith. So I'm on the money line for Roma Delidze, 1.5 units, minus 138. I don't mind the finish only for Delidze, which seems to be a popular play, but I think Delidze can also win a decision as well. So give me Delidze for the win. Next we got Diego Lopez going against Brian Ortega. And yeah, weird circumstances with this fight. First and foremost, it is a short notice fight. Secondly, Ortega cheated on Friday. He cheated. It was just a bad look because Ortega did not strike me as a cheater, but he did. He cheated bad. And yeah, Ortega, this fight's at light heavyweight now, or this fight's at lightweight. This fight's at lightweight now. And Ortega, I guess, like a couple hours before the weigh, I think they said like 6 hours before the weigh-ins, Ortega says that he can't make 145, and then Lopez is like, can you do 150? He's like, no. And it sucks because I guess Lopez cut all the way down to 146 before he went to bed. So like Lopez already did the work, cutting down the weight, and then now Ortega gets his what he wants, the fight at lightweight. And he knew for a fact like he was never going to be able to cut down to featherweight. So it kind of sucks that he wasn't able to give like a little bit more of a notice in like a couple hours. But yeah, so that sucked. So how does that affect the fight? I'm not sure. But what I am, pretty sure of is, Diego Lopez, he's the younger guy. Diego Lopez is the hungrier guy. Brian Ortega showed up today. I don't want to be there vibes. I'm just kind of showing up vibes, completely butchering the weight cut on the scale. He didn't look great. Lopez looked amazing. I mean, he was able to rehydrate. He got up to 155, stepped on the scale, looked great. He's been training, whereas Ortega, I'm not sure. Has Ortega been preparing for this fight? I'm not sure. But I think Lopez has been. I think Lopez is hungry, and he's flashed a ton of power. And Brian Ortega always has been very hittable. Ortega's never officially been knocked out. He has an injury loss and then a doctor stoppage, but I think that knockout loss could be coming here, especially if he's not prepared for this fight. If he's not prepared to fight an absolute monster, an up-and-coming monster in Lopez. So I'm on the Lopez money line here, 1.5 units, minus 138. And then I'm also on the fight ends by knockout, half a unit, plus 155. I think Lopez gives Ortega his first knockout loss. But Lopez has been knocked out twice as well. I think this fight is primarily going to stay standing, and neither guy's been subbed. That's kind of why I like the fight ends by knockout, but I think it's Lopez getting that knockout, and I think it's probably early as well. All right, next we have the main event, Alex Pereira going against Seri Prashka, and yeah, 2 spots here. I'm on the under 2.5 rounds, 2 units, minus 132. I think this fight goes under 2.5 rounds. The 1.5, it's interesting. I think it could go under 1.5 as well, but I wanted the extra round in there. I think this fight personally ends in round 2, like most Seri Prashka fights do. I think all but one of Seri Prashka's fights have ended in the second round. Both these guys have incredible offensive firepower. Alex Pereira has the leg kicks, the left hook. Seri Prashka's a complete wild man. You see it there on the screen. Neither of these guys have lost the decision. 2 losses for Pereira, 1 by knockout, 1 by sub. 4 losses for Seri, 3 knockout losses and 1 by sub. Both these guys have been finishing all their losses. Both these guys have a ton of power, and both these guys are defensively irresponsible. Pereira, 50% strike and defense. Seri, a 41% strike and defense, and I was surprised to see he was even that high because he doesn't have any strike and defense. He blocks punches with his face. So, yeah, my pick is Pereira. I think he lands a left hook in the second round and knocks out Seri. But give me the under 2.5. I think it covers both sides. 2 units, minus 132, and it's going to close out my parlay. I have Peyton Talbot inside the distance, minus 190, parlayed with the fight doesn't go the decision in the Seri Pereira fight at minus 575, 2.5 units on that parlay to win about 2 units there. So yeah, there you guys have it. Lots of spots sticking out for this fight card here. Let's see. I know you guys want to recap it. Holy crap. I'm so tired. Jeez. Okay. I'll just do a quick one so nobody cries. So recap. 3 money lines. Lopez, 1.5 units, minus 138. Delit, 1.5 units, minus 138. Jourdain, 1 unit, minus 120. My only parlay of the week is Prashka Pereira. Fight doesn't go, minus 575. Talbot wins inside the distance, minus 190, comes out to minus 126 for 2.5 units. I have 2 units on the Seri Prashka Pereira under 2.5 rounds, minus 132. Lopez fight ends by knockout, half a unit, plus 155. Bueno Silva inside the distance, half a unit, plus 300. Bueno Silva sub, quarter unit, plus 410. Gary inside the distance, half a unit, plus 340. Gary sub, quarter unit, plus 1,000. Paige KO, half a unit, plus 500. Felix Swanson under 2.5, 1.5 units, minus 110. Swanson KO, half a unit, plus 600. Talbot sub 2, sub 3, quarter unit on each, 2,000 for plus 2,000 for round 2 sub, plus 2,500 for round 3 sub. Robertson inside the distance, half a unit, plus 180. Robertson submission, half a unit, plus 260. Budai submission, half a unit, plus 470. Have the Hernandez, Carlos Hernandez to win by split or majority decision, quarter unit, plus 1,800. Carlos Hernandez round 3, plus 3,500 quarter unit. Hernandez plus 3.5 point spread, aka points handicap, 1 unit plus 240. Simone Oliveira under 2.5 rounds, 1.5 units minus 115. Simone round 2 quarter unit plus 650. Simone round 3 quarter unit plus 1,000. There you guys have it. Lots of action for this card. Comment down your biggest plus money prop. Again, the winner will be announced the next betting breakdown video I do. $25 the first. You'll also hit your prop. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker goes to the person that commented first. Be on the lookout. If I add anything, I'll post it down in the comments. And of course, it'll be on dfsbythenumbers.com. Best of luck for UFC 303. Let's make it a big one. And we'll talk to you guys very soon. See you later.